Testing 1 2 1 2. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back, man of prestige. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're going to have a conversation today. Today's topic, fake marriage gurus. We're going to also talk about the NYC subway suspect. And we're also going to talk about what does the Manosphere and the FemiNAZIS has to do or have to do with this, right? So welcome back. Welcome to live taping. Shout out to you. Shout out to you and your family. Happy Easter. This weekend is going to be turned depending on what part of the world you're in. If you're in, let me just make sure audio is good, right? Awesome, awesome. So if you're in Nigeria, you already know what it is. If you're in America, you already know you have to pull that overtime. Maybe Sunday. Maybe you have a time off on Sunday. Maybe, right? Just maybe, right? But yes, welcome back. There's a couple of things that we're going to cover today. Today is going to be very quick, very sharp. I want to get to the point. As you know, what we talk about here is stuff that concerns men. All right, things that things that has to do things that have to do with men, issues in life, in relationships, in business, in career that has to do with men. That's what we talk about here. All right, and we're going to cover a couple of things. There's also another topic that I wanted to cover today, which is there's this video right here.
Go viral.
We're definitely going to be talking about this video right here with JT and PBM. They were talking about fake gurus, and I thought there was some interesting points that we're going to pull from there. All right. So definitely we're also going to talk about marriage. Of course we're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about relationships, marriage, all of those kind of good things, right? It's like we never finish talking about marriage, right? We talk about it so much that people start to get really, really annoying. But there's a reason why we're talking about it, right? There's a reason why we keep talking about it. So instead of, obviously, there are some real issues that we need to address. We have to continue the conversation until we figure this out, gentlemen. We have to figure this out. We can't afford to to shy away from the issues. That's not what men do. Takes on men we take on the challenge, we get to the bottom of it, we figure it out, at least from individual to individual. As a society, it's gonna take a while. As a community, it's gonna take a while, as you can imagine, right? But again, we're up for the challenge. And if you're not up for the challenge, this is exactly what's gonna continue to happen.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Yo, with me, nigga.
Help me!
Fuck wrong with you, nigga?
Come on! Where my glasses?
Get off of me before I drop your goofy ass again. Now beat that, bitch ass nigga. Pay for this shit. Hurry up.
No,
Pay
come
for
on.
that shit and hurry up before I drop your
Yo.
ass again. Touch me, get on
Yo,
the drop.
stop video for they
Quit
help
touching
me.
me.
You got my key.
Quit touching me,
help
bitch.
you.
No,
Nobody help
come on.
All right, so maybe not exactly like that, but something similar. You're gonna get dragged by women if you don't maintain your masculine frame. If you get in your feminine energy, you cannot do that better than women. Women are better at the feminine game than you, right? And I'm talking about the beautiful feminine energy, right? Again, the beautiful feminine chaos, right? It's beautiful, but you're not going to taste what that beauty look like until you have proper masculine frame and create sexual polarity with that. All by itself, or by bringing another feminine energy into that context, you're going to experience the worst of the worst case scenario, which unfortunately is kind of like the average situation out there right now, right? This is why people are very, very quick to quote data, because the data paints a picture of the worst case scenario, from everything from average down to worst case scenario, right? And if that's your experience, it's because there's something you need to learn. If you're confused, there's something you need to learn. If you don't figure this out and you end up in the court of law, the courts are now going to make things better for you. The court tends to be a weapon. Okay, it tends to be weaponized by especially women in who find themselves in this situation in the Western world, right? It's not always deliberate. So attacking things or approaching things from a standpoint of she's being wicked, it's not going to help you either. She could be wicked, but again, that outlook is going to help you create more destruction from for your household, for your family, and things like that. So without any further ado, let's get started. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is this fake gurus thing. I'm going to get to the fake marriage guru thing, right? But I also want to talk about the fake gurus thing. There was an argument that happened between this guy JT. He's is a according to him, I haven't ever researched him, but he's supposed to be. I believe him. He's a it's a chartered accountant, right? He's a CPA licensed in like 55 different ways or 53. I'm not sure, but anyway, what he does on YouTube is basically call out the fake gurus, right? From a financial standpoint, people, anything that has to do with finance, right? Things like people that are scamming people with bitcoins or or cryptocurrency or anything like that. That's basically what is that's what he specializes in. He calls out the fake gurus, people that are selling courses, that people that have a bunch of people claiming that they've been scammed, right? That's what he does. But he happens to be also friends with a few other gurus out there. I call them gurus because they've built a platform in their own right. People like the lead attorney, people like Kevin Samuels, right? All those guys, right? They have huge followership. So if they say everybody say right? And that is a double-edged sword. That's actually a beautiful thing, but it's also a double-edged sword. With To whom much is given, much is required, right? If you have such huge platform, you're going to be your emotional centeredness has to be on point, right? Because people are going to attempt to drag you. Also, you may make mistakes that are now in the light of attention, huge amounts of attention. We're talking about per video 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. We're talking about potentially 30, 40,000 views on every single video. It's a lot of attention, and if you're not skillful, if you don't have the right skills, it can absolutely destroy you. Also, the arrogance or the pride that comes with that is a double-edged sword. It's a beautiful thing to have a platform like that because you can impact the world in a good way, right? But also you're just human like the rest of us and you can make mistakes. And if you make mistakes, you don't get that much grace. Again, that's what I mean by to whom much is given, much is required, right? So a lot of these guys don't you look at the fresh and fit situation, right? They don't realize this until a lot of times when it's too late or sometimes when they've already made a mistake or lose a little credibility here and there. All right. So with that being said, this guy PBM, yeah, he's been dragging in town for a while. He pulled up some personal records, public records of the gentleman, alleged public records. I didn't do the research myself. I don't know. It seemed believable. But it is what it is. Everyone has a past, right? So he came on JT's platform to put JT's friends, aka Anton and Kevin Samuels. Now there were some assumptions there, and you know what I always say about assumptions, right? When you make an as when you assume you make an ass out of you, it's supposed to be me, but it's actually you. Okay, so let's gentlemen, as a grown man, the last thing you want to be doing is assuming, you know, uh, we're tempted. Sometimes we see in what we consider enough information, and we're tempted to assume and assume and assume. When I see two people doing a live stream together on YouTube, I don't assume that they know each other. Okay, it's just it's not what a grown man is supposed to do. Okay, because people are hustling, people are running a YouTube channel. This is a business for me, as far as I'm concerned. It's a business for most people, for every one of them, even when they're capping, right? And even when they don't turn on the ad, like for example, for a long time I didn't turn on the ad on my other platform because that's not how I make money from it, right? So it depends on everyone's goal is different from people to people, right? But the bottom line is that don't assume. But anyway, he had some point, right? But I wanted to play this video because I feel like there's some lessons there. Again, we're talking about fake gurus. There are, in fact, fake gurus out there. Some of these fake gurus are being fake gurus, but they don't know any better. Okay? I'm going to call some of them out. Not personally, okay, but I'm going to give you some criteria to look out for specifically when it comes to fake marriage gurus, okay? But what does the fake guru look like? right? So JT has a show on Fridays. I'm actually promoting him, I guess. He has a show on Fridays. They call Fake Guru Fridays, where he has like a criteria, a checklist that he goes through. I saw it one time. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was nice. I've been a part of this old guru world where people create courses, and I've been a part of it for since 2012. I don't know how long, 10 years, right? No, 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 sorry, 2009. I meant to say 2009. So a whole lot, like more than a decade. So I know these people. I see patterns. I know when they're coming, and even at that, sometimes they come from a blind spot, but they have patterns. So I thought it was interesting that he created some kind of what do you call it? He created a checklist that if they check this, he declares them a fake guru. But you could go check him out. But let's watch this short clip, and there's some lessons here that I wanted to pull out for us, uh, men and women, that I feel like you can look out for when it comes to fake gurus. They're all over the place as part of the result of COVID, and other things that have gone down in the past few years, right? Including the horizons of career selection and things like that is changing. People, entrepreneurship is hot. So content creation, a lot of people think it's easy. So a lot of gurus are being created without knowing they are becoming gurus themselves. Some people go viral and they become gurus overnight, right? One of them is by the way, Kevin Samuel is not overnight, but he to a lot of people it seems like overnight, right? But anyway, let me play this real quick.
Viral. He didn't come up by claiming he's high value.
They're talking about Kevin Samuel. He said he didn't come up by claiming his high value. Okay. Um, I don't watch him loyally. I stumble into him here and there because I watch quite a few Manosphere videos. Um, but yes, I have never really seen him claim to be high value. I don't think I've ever seen any one of the big gurus claim to be high value too. I think people naturally call them high value because they talk about high value. It's a topic, right? It's a topic, and there are certain criteria, that 6 figure, 6 feet, six pack. No, I'm just kidding, but you get the gist, right? That you have to go through to become a high value, right? They talk about it, but I haven't really seen anybody call themselves high value. As a matter of fact, just a few days ago, I saw Fresh and Fit. There was a lady on their show asked, "Are you high value considered?" And he couldn't answer. It's just a weird answer, a weird question to answer for yourself, right? It's kind of weird, right? Even if you would be considered high value by a lot of people. But again, if you talk about high value so much and people come at you and say, "Hey, you think you're high value," don't be that surprised, okay? Because again, you talk about it so much. I don't talk about stuff like that because I think that's complete vanity, and eventually it will show up as vanity in your life. Even the Warren Buffetts of this world and things like that. It's a weird thing to call yourself. But anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just where I'm from, right?
He got viral by pointing out the absurdity of certain women who desire high value men.
We're not talking about virality. We're talking about fake gurus.
What are you talking about? You know what? When we first talked about Kevin, you was talking about he went viral because of blah, 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 blah. That's what you said, right?
The issue is the fake.
No. Is that what you said?
I did bring that, but my point is.
Time out. Did you talk about him going viral?
I talked about it in context to he went viral. That's when he came.
It's a yes. It's a yes or no. Did you talk about him going viral?
Because that's when he was able to fix his phone. Okay.
All right. What I really wanted to point out here is the deflection. There are two things I wanted to point out. Okay, in a lot of these arguments that's going down online, on Clubhouse, on social media, Facebook, everywhere, right? You have two extremes of the same side, and that's one of the reasons why we'll never get to the bottom or any type of solution. One person is trying to squeeze a whole conversation into yes and no. Hey, I get it. Sometimes they want to get the yes and no so they can know how to bring the next question up. I get that. But again, once you're on a panel and you're having a conversation with people, yes and no is such a disingenuous way of trying to get to a point. I get it. I do it too as well, right? The other side of things is that if somebody's asking you yes and no, if you have trouble saying yes and no, there's a good chance that you have your own bias, you have your own what should I call it? You have your own agenda. That's not necessarily objective. Yeah. No, it's not objective, period. Right? If you're asking a yes or no question, you're not being objective. You're trying to come off as objective, but you're not being objective. Now, on the flip side of things, if somebody's asking you yes or no and you couldn't answer it, you're not objective either. I know that's a news flash to a lot of us, okay? People that ask yes or no, they try to claim that they're being objective. That's what they're trying to do, right? Let's bring it down to an objective argument. But it's bullshit on both sides. And precisely why you couldn't get down to the bottom line, which is what, gentlemen, you should always be looking for. What is the bottom? There's so many nuances. But are you able to get to the bottom line without rushing everyone involved in the conversation? Especially if we're talking about romantic relationship, right? Are you able to get to the bottom line without rushing people? You have that kind of patience? Patience will be tested 100% of the time. So even look at between two gentlemen, they couldn't get it. They have to argue it out. The beautiful thing about this is content. So we're talking about it right now, right?
Okay, and now you can either say yes or no. Like I don't understand why you just won't say yes.
Context matters.
You can't
right?
say yes
Context
or no.
matters. This is not.
Okay, that's true. Context matters, but if you go watch that video, there was a lot of context already that was being said already, right? If you ever see me on a panel, you see me very quiet a lot of time. I'm just quiet until you call on me or until I feel the need to add some kind of value. If I see that there's a place I can add value, but typically that's not the case because again, when people going back and forth, usually they've made up their mind on what they think, right? So, and it's just not the best use of my energy. Uh, no disrespect to anyone, just for me, you know.
Conversation not about one person is the king of fake it till you make it, and I am saying that actually.
All right, so there's another guy called Jay Morrison, Mr. Real Estate, right? I stumbled into him probably around 2016 or so. Another real estate friend of mine, not directly a friend, but acquaintance, linked me up, and they try to buy a house from me, stuff like that. He was coaching a lot of people around the East Coast at that time, and that's when I stumbled into the Jim Morrison. But he's saying that JT was the guy that you're looking at, who's the owner of the show, the one with the glasses. Uh, Consider Jim Morrison to be the king of fake it till you make it, right? But this guy, PBM, with the ring light in front of his face, he's saying no. Kevin Samuel is the king of fake it till you make it. Now, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with fake it till you make it. It just there's a point it can cross the line of being completely a fraudulent behavior, right? But there's a part where fake it till you make it is just what Nigerians will call packaging. We'll call it dress how you want to be addressed, right? Basically presentation, right? Presentation doesn't matter, right? So it depends. It can be subjective. Depends on how far you take it, right? Some people will call your presentation you're faking it till you make it. So it all depends. For Kevin Samuel, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's more so like a presentation. But then they got further into the argument about he teaches life. He is selling life coaching. Well, life coaching is such a vague thing. If you buy life coaching from me, if I share some concepts with you, if you don't implement, you really can't turn around and claim that somebody scammed you, right? It's too vague. Like if you're gonna buy some kind of coaching, be specific. Do the work yourself on narrowing down to the result you're looking to achieve. And, and with that being said, I would hope that you hire somebody that has the result you're looking to achieve. And that's one of the problems with this situations here, right?
Kevin Samuels is.
Okay, and let me explain the difference between the two in my viewpoint.
You haven't done the research.
No. Let me explain the difference. Right? The difference is Jay Morrison's fake it till you make it is what he's selling. He's selling the lie. The way that he makes his money, in my point of view, is that he is selling the fake it.
All right, so I kind of agree with that, right? I kind of agree with that. If the result you're looking to achieve is being sold by a person that doesn't have the result, I consider that fake guru. Or let me say never been done before. More so never been done before. So with that being said, I want to move on into the next subject here, which is fake marriage gurus, right? I want to talk about fake marriage gurus. Now, the people I'm talking to, these are the kind of people I'm talking to. Okay, who is this segment for? Let me be very, very clear. I need to be very clear here. This segment is only for you if you want to be or want to stay married. Okay, and I'm talking precisely monogamous marriage. Okay, if you're looking for polygamous marriage, you may still find some tips here, but maybe not directly. Okay, you may have to do some extraction yourself. But if you're looking to be married or you're looking to stay married, then what I'm about to say is absolutely for you. If you've never been married before, there's a good chance you're about to take an offense to what I'm about to say. Okay? If you've been married before and you've been divorced before, there's a good chance you're about to take an offense to what I'm about to say. Okay? There's a chance, okay? Because I understand that it's 2022, okay, and everyone thinks they know one or two things about everything, right? Especially this is like the knowledge generation, right? When you have the knowledge generation, meaning everyone has a certain level of knowledge, um, like heighten the knowledge. Everyone can jump on Google and Google stuff and search for stuff and read books and in fact, I'm almost about to say like people are reading too much books, but it's not about reading too much books. It's about reading so much books you're not really getting into the application stage. You're not applying anything. You're reading it, you're regurgitating it right back out without applying, without application, right? So we have people that are reading what do you call it? The other book, what's his name? Rollo Tomasi's book. I forgot the name now, but anyway, you get the point, right? The Five Love Languages, all this marriage relationship book, Steve Harvey's book. People are reading this stuff, right? Popular, high, extremely popular books, right? But they're not. There's no application, and when there's no application, there's no experience. And experience will remain the best teacher ever, 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 and ever, and ever, and ever, right? Right? Experience is going to remain the best teacher. It's very, very simple, right? One of the books that I read personally is called 3% Man by Coach Corey Wayne. Guy suggested to read it 10 to 15 times. He was not joking. It's because, again, when you read the second time, third time, most people are not going to get to the second time, right? Most people are ready to jump to the next book because, again, they're just soaking in so much knowledge. And when you have so much knowledge, like oversupply of anything in life becomes less value, right? That's just basic economics, right? Oversupply of anything in life becomes overly, right? Almost everything, let me say, because never say never. You can't, I don't like making absolute statements, but today I think I'm about to make an absolute statement. So again, if you want to be married, you want to stay married, what I'm about to say is for you, particularly if you're looking for a monogamous relationship. Everything else is like because again, I don't want to teach you something I don't practice. As a matter of fact, I strongly agree with JT here, right? If somebody is selling something that they've never practiced, they don't practice, they've never gotten results in it, right? They are precisely my definition of fake guru. A lot of time they're doing it not necessarily because they want to deliberately scam people, it's because again they're delusional like the rest of this generation. They think because they can read one or two things online that's it, that they know something about it. Sometimes I've had people say, "Hey, I've lived with people before, so because of that, so therefore, I know a little something about marriage." No, you don't. You're full of shit, like the rest of us. Okay? No, you don't. All right. Let's be frank. Okay. So again, the number one people that might fall in the category, I use the word might, but I really want to say 100%. Okay. I don't like speaking in absolute, but I think I mean 100%. If they've never been married before, they can't talk to you about marriage. Not if you want to be married or stay married. Okay? You can't listen to these people. Okay? You can't. They've never been married before. Everything they know about marriage has been hearsay. They don't know nothing about it. I don't care if they're one day away from marriage. I don't care if they've dated multiple girlfriends. I don't care if they have 1,500 lay counts. It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. They can't tell you shit about marriage. They need to keep it moving. They need to focus on themselves and stop trying to teach about marriage. They need to, if they've observed other people's lifestyle and they observe Will Smith and Jada and and Warren Buffett and the wife and Bill Gates and the ex-wife, if they've observed all of that, they need to keep observing. Don't don't listen to them. Okay? Yes, sometimes they make sense. Okay? But again, uh just take it from me, okay? Number two, if they're presently not married, okay? They're presently not married. They can't advise you on marriage. There is a reason why they are presently not married. They can't advise you on success in marriage. They may be able to advise you on how they failed in marriage and how to avoid certain pitfalls, yes. But again, they won't be able to tell you how to achieve success in marriage for the obvious reason. People are very so okay because would you because because they're not married, that makes their point invalid. Yeah, this one is an absolute yes. Okay, particularly for you because you've told me that you want to be married and you want to stay married, or you want to stay married and or you want to stay married. Okay, if you could care less, if you're indifferent about marriage, then you feel free, entertain yourself, keep listening to them, right? But again, there's certain things that these people, number one, never been married. Number two, presently not married. There's certain things that's going to come from their biases, their filters, and their lens of life, right? That is just not healthy for anyone who wants to be or stay married. It's just not healthy. Okay. At the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're emotional beings, and your lens and your filters and your biases are created by your influences. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are. Okay. What you surround yourself with will influence you. And by the way, vice versa, you do have influence on other people as well. But typically, most people are not engaged with their power to influence, right? So a good book for how to influence and how to win friends is Dale Carnegie, How to Win and Influence Friends. If you want to engage your power of influence in life in general, and particularly it's very good for relationships and marriage as well. It will require some kind of translation, but you get the gist. Number three type of fake marriage gurus that you never want to listen to if you care for success in marriage. Okay, if you care for success, you want to be and you want to stay married, right? um you want to be careful with them. There's some things you can learn from this group of people, but you don't want to just soak in everything they have to say, because again, your filters, your biases are created by your influences, right? There are people that have failed in marriage. If they failed in marriage, especially multiple times in marriage, I mean, come on, success leave clues, right? Success leave clues. And if this sounds like shot fired, it is what it is. I'm just telling you right now. If you care, again, I'm talking to people that want to be and stay married. Um, you can learn what not to do in marriage from people that are presently married. Okay, you can. Okay, you can. All right, you can learn what not to do because they have the experience. Not only that, they're still succeeding, and for every day they stay in there, you can consider that a level of success. Now, not everyone that's married are happily married. Granted, absolutely, you don't want to listen to everyone that's married. Okay, because some people, but you can tell in one or two sentences if they're enjoying their marriage or not. When you have people that get very excited about talking down on women, there's a good chance they're not having a good time in their marriage, even if they're still married. There are many of them out there. They are married. They're very quick to remind you that they're married because they're trying to gain some kind of credibility. But there is a reason, there's a bias, there's an agenda to why they get very excited about the idea of talking down on women. Now, it's not that women are always 100% good people, okay? But I'm talking about the excitement you see in their face from your own subjective standpoint. You feel like they get too excited. Now, I said, yes, I did say subjective, not objective, but all subjective, right? So it's bullshit when they say they're objective, usually, right? But precisely from a subjective standpoint, you, based on your observation, you feel like they have a tendency to talk down on women. A tendency, you feel that way, feelings, meaning it doesn't have to be accurate. There is a good chance that they're not enjoying their marriage. Okay, I would say again, they're definitely not going to teach you everything that's good about a woman. They don't like that. They don't like the idea, like they push against it, right? For the most part, right? um some of them, I don't know why, but I can tell you that it's coming from a place of pain. Pain is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you don't heal, yes, it can be a bad thing. Number four type of people that I feel like you should be careful with listening. This one, be careful with listening to advice from there. Are people that are married under 10 years. Okay, People that are married under 10 years, they haven't, in my humble opinion. Oh, by the way, I've been married for 15 years. So it may sound like I'm giving myself accolade, but it is what it is. Okay. If what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you, don't worry about this advice either. Okay. But if it makes sense, let me know. Okay. If they've been married for under 10 years, they haven't they haven't had enough up and downs in a marriage to be able to in order to be able to, what's the word, to in order to give you like an overall good outlook on marriage, and then focus on the things that you need to do to create success in it, right? Under 10 years, there is a likelihood that most of it they haven't enjoyed it, right? There's a likelihood. 10 years goes by so quick, right? Some of you, you're gonna look for your 30s. You're not gonna find your life. Where did that go? And in your 40s, you're gonna be like, okay, let me relax. Life is not that deep, right? That's because 10 years is really nothing at the end of the day. So if they haven't been married for at least 10 years, right? And I'm kind of like doubling that, because any marriage that goes past 5 years have done really good, done very well, especially if they're enjoying it for the most part, right? Because most marriages that are collapsing are doing it under 5 years, right? So if they've been married for under 10 years, they can't really teach you. No, they can't. I'm sorry. Okay. They can't. You need to find people that have been married for more than 10 years. Again, precisely for you, if you want to be married or you want to stay married. If you don't want any one of these things, or you're indifferent about it, there are women who are indifferent about it because the feminazis are teaching them to do that. There are also men who are indifferent about it because the manosphere is teaching them, like, don't put marriage on the pedestal. That's fine. You don't have to listen to any one of this. You can go back to the free lifestyle agents and they will teach you everything uh, that's terrible about marriage and women. Okay. But if you want to be married and you want to stay married, listen to me carefully. Okay. There are very few people that can teach you how to become successful in a marriage. And to me, that means you're happily married for more than 10 years. Okay. As a matter of fact, it really should be a lifetime, because you continue to get to know this person for the rest of your life. Okay. But at some point, I had to put some kind of numbers on it. But I have to remove the cap as well, because there are people that have been 25 years in marriage and they divorced. We had like two different examples over the past few days. I may even show that in a few minutes here, right? Okay. They've been married for 23, 25 years and they become empty nester. That's what they call them. And then they call it quits. It happens. Okay. So it's not really about the numbers. It's about the more the experience in a happy marriage. Precisely, happy marriage. Not everyone that's married is happy, but you can tell from what they're saying. Okay. See, listen, I know the nature of women. Okay. I'm not mad at God because of the nature of women. If somebody is angry with God because of the nature of woman and they claim to be married, meaning, how can you tell if they're mad at the nature of a woman? How can you tell? Because they're always arguing with women on social media. They're married, yes, maybe for a few years, but they're always in argument about marriage and relationships with women. And they find different things to blame it on. They blame it on society, they blame it on feminazis, they blame it on media, yes, right? And it's not about those things are not necessarily a cause of where we are as a community. It's about when men blame everything else outside of the guy in the mirror on the collapse of society. That right there tells you more about that person. Okay, it tells you more. Okay, all right. So that's it. That's those are. Let me do a quick recap for you just to make sure that you have this. Number one, never be married. Number two, presently not married. Number three, failed in marriage. Number four, married under 10 years. If anybody is being a marriage guru, and even if they went to school for this, okay, yes, even those that have degrees, they're all fake gurus, okay? Because experience is everything. Experience is everything. It gives you all of the different nuances, and they tend to. And there are very good ones that went to school and they're not married. I'm just saying, you may want to look at them with a side eye a little bit, okay? But there's a lot of nuances in your own personal life as an individual. You can also expect that a partner, a wife, or a husband, we have a lot of nuances of things that's going on with them. And if you don't have a person that can break it down to what happened, tell me the story. If they want to generalize all the time or push data in front of your face all the time, they can't teach you marriage. They're going to paint marriage very badly for you, and you're going to see red everywhere when they talk about marriage, and you can't produce any good fruit if you go into marriage with that mindset. Okay, so I try to be as objective as possible with what I just said. But nonetheless, I understand how these things work. Some people may take an offense for it. It's what it is. I'm okay with that, But for if you want to be or stay married, pay attention to what I just said. Rewind it and watch it all over again. All right. All right. So let's see here. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and go into let's go into the subway stuff, right? This guy on the subway that basically the subway the subway shooting the suspect, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that really quickly because this guy um decided, let me just share my screen with you really quickly. All right, great. This guy right here. A couple of questions that I have, right? Let me just go ahead and take a 30 seconds break, and then we'll come right back to it. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, good. So a couple of things I want to cover before I leave this marriage guru issue, right? A couple of questions I think I should answer that I get all the time, right? Is every marriage unique? The answer is yes. Is that like a real advice? No, that's a stupid advice. Okay, let me be clear. Is every marriage unique? Yes. Is that really a usable or useful advice? No. It's a stupid advice. It's not even an advice. It's basically what people say when they don't want to listen, when they don't want to acknowledge that there is something to learn, when they don't want to acknowledge that confusion should equals to time to learn something new, right? So let me repeat that. Is every marriage unique? Yes. Is that really an advice? No, that's a stupid advice. Is that useful for you in any form of advice? No, it's a stupid one. Okay. Here's why. Successful marriage has patterns. There are patterns. Okay. You listen, if you find a 20-year person that's been married for 20 years, been married for 25 years, you find 10 of them, and you ask them and say, tell me what makes a successful marriage. I'm sure you'll find 10 things that's common to all of them. Some of them will be humility, patience. Okay, you'll find those in there. Like humility, patience. You will find that somewhere there, right? There's a good tendency you won't find talks like masculinity, femininity. I tell people, hey, this femininity, masculinity, slow down on it. I talk about that a lot because again, I want you to once we get down to bottom of things, to get down to things, I want you to understand the emotional dynamics and the masculine, feminine dynamics. But if I don't really, if I don't really know what's going on with you, it's probably going to be useless for you. You have men out here running around thinking that masculinity is it means being a man. That's completely false. Okay, there's no such thing as masculinity without the presence of femininity, right? It's they have to kind of like coexist. One, you have to, in order to explain it properly, you have to explain both. You can't say I'm just in my masculine frame as a man, and there's no intersexual dynamics being talked about, right? We can't say, hey, this woman is masculine at work. Based on what? There's no sexual dynamics. Why are we talking about that, right? All right. So now, within this context of this conversation that I have here, I will only talk to you about masculine and feminine energy when it comes to sexual polarity. Yes, I do play that video for fun sometimes where I show you how a woman will kick your butt if you go there with a feminine energy, right? This video right here. Let me play it for you. This video. Hey! Wait! Hey! Wait! Hey! Wait! Yo! Right? That video, right? I play it to you just so you can, as a parable, right? This is what happens to you if you don't understand that you should not be engaging a woman that you're romantically involved with in a feminine way. But yes, we can use it in different ways, maybe in just random arguments on social media and stuff like that. It tends to be consistent. But generally speaking, we don't use that, right? So anyway, the other question I want to answer here is there a formula to success in marriage? The answer is yes. There is a formula. There are basically single people, people that have failed in marriage running around. Some people are actually in marriage as well, but typically there are people that have one issue or the other in marriage, or maybe living in a broken marriage. They'll tell you there's no formula to success in marriage. That is a bold-faced lie. There is success to any institution since the beginning of mankind. Okay, it's a great way to pat yourself on the back that to say it's okay to fail. Okay, it's just a good. I'll take that. But there's formula, the success formula for marriage. Okay, is marriage a badge of honor? It depends on who we're talking to. People that are enjoying marriage, they will tell you it is a badge of honor. So I'll tell you, yes, it's a badge of honor, right? People that have failed in marriage, yeah. People that are afraid of marriage, yes, they will tell you it's not a badge of honor. People that spend their time listening to everything terrible going on in marriage, which I get it. That's what you're going to mostly find in this arena, right? Social media, they will tend to tell you that yes, it's not a badge of honor. But the thing is that successful marriage is absolutely a badge of honor. As a matter of fact, some marriage is not exactly successful. They're not enjoying it, but they look good on the outside, and it creates certain types of result for them in real life that you can easily translate back to badge of honor. So when we're saying this thing, we create all these talking points to make ourselves feel better about our failures. I don't think we're necessarily doing ourselves any favor by doing that, right? Let me play this short video for you in terms of what this gentleman, his name is Nedu, I think. Nedu is an OAP in Nigeria. I'm not sure if that's a stage name. Nedu. Nedu. Let me play.
Comment go to say, my marriage must work in Jesus' name. My marriage must work. Because now the negative, now the bad ones, time they full social media. The ones where they work, they not even get.
They said it's the bad marriages that's full on that you find all over social media. Some of your biggest gurus are people that have failed in marriages. Okay, it is what it is. Okay. All right. So because of that, people are. I understand where people start to create all this rhetorics, and I understand, but just know that that's not going to help you because there's a high likelihood you're going to try to marry, right? And if you go into it with this mindset of just a failed mindset, toxic mindset, you're going to attract exactly what you fear the most. Okay.
Time for social media can they make you feel say, oh, marriage not the work, marriage is bad. So I think, to be quite honest with you, marriage is not overrated. It's just now with the person where you did, and now you go carry the person, person where you're not supposed to carry to sit down for house. That's all.
Now you want marry content creator.
All right, so there's nothing wrong with content creator. I'm a content creator and I've been married for 15 years, but I get what they're saying. There's a lot of popular content creator that are failing in marriages. Some of them are failed in marriages and all this kind of stuff, right? But again, if you like what I'm saying here and you want to hear more about marriage, share, but also go to the homepage of this channel. You'll see Lola and Ola. You can click into that channel. My wife and I talk about everything that creates success in marriage because we are basically living life evidence that it can work in a very fantastic, enjoying your life type of way. Okay, so that doesn't mean we're perfect. It just means we're having a good time. Okay, if you think because a marriage is not perfect, you should avoid it. It's like saying because life is not perfect, you want to avoid life. That doesn't make any sense, right? Of course, nothing is perfect, but that's the point. That's why That's why it's a game I call it a game because there are skill sets that you have to learn, and you're not going to learn this skill set. One thing I always tell people, not to stretch this out too far, is that if you want to become a PhD holder, you don't go ask advice from college dropouts, right? Now, there are some nuances, there's some exceptions, right? I get it, okay? But everything else being equal, you would want to talk to a person who is at least heading in the direction of a PhD or they are already a PhD holder, right? Before not going to talk to. Some people will say, what about Elon Musk? I'm like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Even Elon Musk would have a bunch of PhD on his research team. You get the gist, right? He's not stupid. Let's not be stupid with our lives. The marriage is your life if you're trying to do it at least in a traditional sense. is basically your life, right? And you don't want to say things like it's not a badge of honor. Like if something is not a badge of honor, why would you put any effort into making it work? Doesn't make sense, right? Exactly. So yes, I'll be right back in about 30 seconds so we can dive into the rest of the live stream. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's talk about this guy. His name is Frank James. His name is Frank James, right? So yesterday, let me just put this on the side a little bit. Yesterday, I was on my way to the city, New York City. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Yesterday, yes, yeah. And one of my colleagues sent me one of my partners, I should say, right? Sent me a link to this news, literally like a few minutes after it happened, right? Um, yes, I was in a train into the city, and this guy has basically caused a bunch of commotion in New York City. Um, he he threw gas into a subway a train car, and started shooting everywhere. Basically, he shot 33 times and shot about 10 people. Okay, didn't kill anyone. Okay, he didn't kill anyone. This guy right here. Let me show you. Uh, let me show you his full picture so you can see it. This guy right here. Right. All right. So let me just let me go ahead and share and play some of this video with you.
We begin tonight with ABC's Janae Norman here in New York City and elsewhere, and his alleged path that led to that subway platform. You will also hear from a witness tonight in that subway car describing the scene as it was unfolding. We begin tonight with ABC's Janae Norman on the scene for us again tonight.
This is the moment police arrested the suspect for the subway rampage, taking him into custody in the middle of the day on a busy Manhattan.
All right, so that's him right there. So this guy, let me drag it to a place where you can see his face. Yeah, that guy right there. He looks scary, doesn't it? Right. But anyway, shot up everywhere, shot 10 people, and this was the bag that he had, right? And this was the van. This guy drove all the way from Wisconsin via Philadelphia. And this is people running for their lives, okay? So let me play that real quick.
Station. They say this video.
That's him walking to the station.
Timeline. With the help of this image, they say shows that U-Haul driving into Brooklyn hours before the shooting. According to police, James Park.
That's him right there.
Far from the subway station.
He was dragging one luggage, a small luggage. He also had another backpack in his hands. He was wearing like he looked like a city worker, doesn't he? Right? He had a gas mask on with a helmet.
They say this video.
And that's him trying to enter. That's him trying to enter the subway. Okay, I actually do have an assignment, a project going on in New York City right now that we end next week, and I take this subway almost every morning right now, right? And this happened yesterday, right? So literally yesterday. All right. So you see that, right? He harmed about 10 people. That's the guy right there. So they didn't find him for another 30 hours after that event. He actually escaped from the subway station. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Let me play this real quick.
Imagine enormous relief there in that neighborhood.
And David, that is exactly what a young woman who saw the immediate aftermath of the attack yesterday called that news a relief. And there was the mom who I spoke with yesterday. I saw her again today crossing the street with 4 young children. When I told her police caught Frank James, she said, I know, put her hand to her heart, pointed to the sky and said,
All right, so at least we're grateful that nobody died. I am grateful that nobody died. But a couple of questions that I wanted to get answered here. A lot of people are connecting this event to the Manosphere. Some people are connecting it to the Manosphere. Some people are connecting it to YouTubers, right? But that's like connecting every bad event that happens in life to just media in general, right? And yes, we can connect them. You know, people are being influenced by media. That's a real thing, right? But I would instead of pinpointing Manosphere, like I feel like Manosphere, certain rhetorics are dangerous, and yes, people like this can be born from a lot of the extreme ideologies and BTAD type of rhetorics that you find in this space, right? But the bottom line is this: just like I said with the Will Smith stuff, this man is to be blamed for his own problems. In fact, there was something that I found quite consistent with a lot of the things that he was saying on his YouTube channel, because he had his own YouTube channel. He was a follower of Kevin Samuels. Not exactly. It's just because again, it looks like he was a fan. A fan doesn't necessarily mean a follower, right? I guess it can be interwoven, right? But again, that's a stretch to really just attach his name to just another person that has a media platform. It doesn't make any sense, right? I guess it makes sense to some people, but I feel like if you're just gonna attach it, you have a bias, you have an agenda, right? To pull a content creator down, right? Doesn't mean it's perfect. As a matter of fact, I am a critic of the Kevin Samuels of this world and the Manosphere in general. But I don't think we're doing ourselves a favor when we point fingers. But if we're looking for a solution to avoid this kind of stuff in the community in general, then we can say, hey, maybe we should pay attention to some of the things that we say. If you sit down on the panel for 5 hours and a whole lot of it, maybe not majority, because I don't want to exaggerate, right? A whole lot of it is about bashing women. You are going to create certain types of character. Doesn't mean you're responsible, but just so you know, the influence is influential, right? It's going to help create certain type of character. It's just a fact of life. So to whom much is given, much is required. Maybe you should be aware, right? Now, there's some things that haven't exactly been consistent with the news since it broke out yesterday. Tariq Nasheed pointed out that they first said that it was 5'5" black men, and then eventually it was 6 foot guy. I could see how that can happen, you know. But he's asking questions. Is there some kind of shadiness going on, or we're just playing victim again, right? I'm not saying we're not a victim. Are we playing victim? There's a difference between being a victim in reality and perpetuating that by or helping perpetuate that by playing victim, right, on an ongoing basis. It's something we have to be careful about, right? Right? Um, yeah, I heard it was saying a lot of cool stuff on YouTube, right? There's a lot of YouTubers who do that. They lack empathy for the experience that certain groups of people have had. See, I don't like to speak to the experience of certain group of people. Like, for example, as a Nigerian, I don't speak to the experience of Igbo people with the Biafra agitation and stuff like that. I don't speak to it. As a matter of fact, as a Yoruba man, I don't speak to the Yoruba nation because I don't know enough. I'm not educated enough to be able to speak to it. How much more another group of people? So there's a lot of people talking on the internet that almost seems like they're always on the side of the oppressors. Um, that's why sometimes I may come off as a fensist. Some people call me fensist. It is what it is, right? Because again, I only speak to things I understand. The things I understand is real estate. I understand relationships. I understand marriage, right? Those 4 things, right? I understand marketing. I can add one more to it, right? I can speak. I can speak to it. I can argue with. I can make absolute statements when it comes to those things. But everything else, I don't know, right? So yes, he as a black man that had a lot of videos, a lot of hateful things to say about black women, about non-black people, about whites. Like eventually, we're gonna have to start to read your energy and not necessarily what you're saying. We're reading your energy, not what you're saying. Naturally, we'll do that anyway because we have incredible radar for bullshit. People like to say words matter only to a certain point. I'm reading your energy, and your energy tells me a lot more about the trauma that you may have gone through. Yes, that is an absolute. Okay, right? So, Tariq Nasheed is saying maybe there's some kind of setup for stop and frisk. Uh, Again, everyone is speculating. This is all speculation, right? The only thing I can tell you instead of speculation is that, gentlemen, work on yourself. Work on your mental health. You're a human like the rest of us. Okay? Be careful what kind of rhetoric you're plugged in onto. Be careful what kind of content you're enjoying out there. The most popular content out there they tend to be toxic in nature. Okay? It's just what it is. It's more entertaining. Okay? All right. So I wouldn't necessarily blame it. I won't blame it on Manosphere. I would definitely think yes, if you are in the Manosphere space and you have very very strong opinions, and you have very very strong opinions about women, about certain social issues, stuff like that, you want to be careful because eventually you will eat yourself up because life is really not that deep. It's deep, but not that deep. Okay. All right. They said he's always been alone all his life. That's what the sister actually said, right? Of course, some people are starting to speculate that his FBA is not none of. We don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. What matters right now is that you, as a man, in the society we live in right now, if it's westernized or is being westernized, if you live in Lagos, it's being westernized, right? You have to be careful about your mental health. You have to learn how relationships work. You have to learn power dynamics. That means avoid playing the victim. Playing the victim is not something you wake up and say deliberately, intentionally, I'm going to play the victim. It's about being self aware to really start to read your own words, start to read your own rhetoric, start to read your own insights, or start to read your own outlook on life. Is it healthy for you? Do you have a healthy balance of the issues of life, social issues, and stuff like that? You need a healthy balance. Why? For yourself, not for anyone else. Because if anything crazy like this happened and you made it happen, you will get locked up, and you may end up hurting the people you love the most, not just yourself. Okay. I mean, this guy was talking about things like elimination of black people. I mean, come on, like come on. In one breath he doesn't like the black women, in the other breath I mean, it's like, come on, work on yourself before you get on YouTube and start shooting videos for other people. Again, we're talking about fake gurus. There's fake gurus everywhere on YouTube. People just jump on YouTube. I'm looking for more people that have other lives outside of YouTube. Doesn't mean you can be a full-time YouTuber, healthy, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Okay, because once you start getting some attention, it gets in your head because you're human like the rest of us. Yes, it gets in your head. But if you have other lives and you stay humbled, not stay woke, fuck woke, right? Stay humbled. You realize that anyone can pull any kind of rug from under you. You can ask me. I've had multiple YouTube channels pulled from under me for no reason, by the way. If you understand that nothing lasts forever, if you understand that no condition is permanent, then you will humble yourself. Humble yourself. So, what's the bottom line here? Okay. If you play a victim, you're going to eventually become a victim. If you are a victim, I'm sorry. Because, yes, there are real victims. Okay. Black people generally around the world are victims. Okay. Of white supremacy. Yes. But that's different from playing a victim. Gentlemen, you can't afford to play a victim, to be playing a victim. You will perpetuate misery and suffering for yourself. Okay? Instead, there are certain powers that you have access to, and you just may not know. But you should know starting right now, and then start to ask more questions so you can engage those power. And then make the best out of this beautiful life that we have right now. You're such a lucky man. Ladies, you're so lucky to be alive today. There's so much beautiful things going on around us right now. And I know you may not be able to see that because of particular experiences, but try your best to start to see life a little bit differently. I'm not speaking to victims. I'm speaking to people that tend to play the victim because they've been a victim, right? It's something we have to be careful. That's all I'm saying. I want to be very empathetic when I say this. It's something that we just have to be careful with, okay? As individuals, okay? If anybody is bringing any kind of beef to your doorsteps, right? Always ask yourself, does this person have anything to lose? Do they have anything to live for? Just ask that question. It just may not be worth it. I promise. It just may not be worth it. I'm not asking you to take the higher road. I'm asking you, right? 1 second here. I'm asking you to do the best for yourself. That's all I'm asking you to do. See here. Yep, that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to take care of yourself. I'm asking you to engage in your own power. I'm asking you to make the most out of this life for yourself and your family. Because when you do that, it's highly rewarding. When you do that, it's highly rewarding. Let's see here. What's going on here? All right. So let me go back. Let's go back to our screen here. Let's make sure that. All right. So let me share my screen. Let me go back to sharing my screen, and let's just a few more minutes to cover some of the news that's going on today. Let's see here. All right, we got this one right here. She said domestic violence. Okay, shout out to Instablog Nigeria and the Shade Room. They keep me on my toes on what's going on. Domestic violence. High time we stopped pressurizing people into marriage. Domestic violence. High time we stop pressurizing people. So she has, with all the information about the gospel musician. So I covered the news here a few days ago about Osinachi, a gospel singer, who allegedly suffered perennial domestic abuse. And are you still going on people's page to ask them, when will you marry? You're growing old. All right, so this is a person that has reduced an issue of domestic abuse down to her being harassed on social media. When is she going to get married? Or maybe her loved ones, right? That's not the same thing. That's such a disingenuous thing to say, right? That's not the same thing. People coming on your page to ask you, when are you going to get married? That's because you're a public figure. That has nothing to do with people being abused and terminated. Let's be guarded. Let's be guarded with all our comparison. This is what people do, right? They take their own issues, they project it with everything else that's going on. They did the same thing with Will Smith. People take their own personal issues, they project it in and lump it all together with other people's that they don't know those issues. I guess we all do it to some extent, right? All right. People should stop pressurizing women, especially to get married. Well, if you are going past the age of 30, beyond the wall, I'm not going to pressurize it. There's a good chance your mother, your aunties, your uncles, because it's just the natural order, or what socialization calls the natural order, and you're not going to stop people from doing this. You're going to have to manage your energy and how you respond to that. And if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it, right? If it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? So I don't think it's relevant to DV or any form of abuse. I guess you can say these strangers are abusing you online. I guess you can claim that, but they're strangers. You can also shut down your social media profile. All right. Let me play this video for you really quickly. This was a funny one.
The crackhead. To be in the crack.
Let me play it for you. This is a funny one right here.
I said, yeah. I object, Your Honor. You object to the room, or you object to being the crackhead? To being the crackhead. Thank you. Okay, I didn't think you are now. You used to be, maybe? Never. Maybe.
Does she look like a crackhead? Does she look like a crackhead? Right? This is a disease, right? So we can't really exactly make fun of them. But does she look like a crackhead? Like somebody who was on crack? Let's
A
keep
little
going.
bit at a time. Never. One rock.
Wait. She said never.
Never have. Tried it one time.
Oh, she tried it one time.
I knew I had something going on. I can smell it. I can smell it. Anybody coming here having used crack, I can smell it. I smell a little crack in you. Might have been 30 years ago.
Maybe 30 years
The more I
ago.
look at you, the more you smell like crack. Said, yeah.
All right, here's why. This is the real reason why I'm playing this, right? Some people, not some people, a lot of people are cap online. We can smell it. The only people that can't smell it are probably people that you've managed to rub their nerves. Maybe they can relate to whatever your rhetorics are. You know, you touched some kind of nerves or something. They can relate with the pain of the story you're telling online. But some of us can tell when you're capping. Either you talk about you're making too much money, or you're talking about you have like 1,000 lake hands. We can tell. We can smell it, right? This is how obvious it seems for some of us, at least, you know. So I won't call names here, generally speaking, because I want to keep the platform clean. But I'll keep talking in general terms, you know, just to make sure that you understand that there's always a place you can come to here where you can ask questions in the comment area, and I can share some insights with you. I try my best to come from an authentic place. If I don't know it, I tell you I don't know. Okay. Just watch out for people that tend to know everything, right? Just watch out for those people, right? They are the danger of our society right now. And that's really the point of this live stream today.
Object, Your Honor.
She says she object. Can you imagine, right? I saw Judge Matthews trending and immediately knew he must have called somebody a crackhead. Because if that man don't do nothing else, he gonna call him a fucking crackhead. Oh shit.
You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
This was
Look at me, boy.
what
Don't
movie
you
was
smoke
this?
crack? You smoke crack, don't you?
This movie was
You smoke crack, don't you?
I forgot the name of it right now.
Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack? You smoke.
Uh-oh. One thing, he gonna call you a crackhead. Uh-oh. When he's got the tiniest. He does that for real? I haven't seen this show in a long time. It's got the tiniest inkling that you're a crackhead. Anyway.
That is so hard.
So there's this video here. You know, the rhetorics here today. Lean on me. Thank you, Awa. Thank you, Awa. How you doing, Awa? Yeah. There's this. Today I said, just for those of you that made it late, fake marriage gurus. They tend to come in four different categories of people. They've never been married. They are presently not married. 3, they failed in marriage, especially multiple times, but even one time. If a person failed in marriage and they're trying to advise you on marriage, the only thing they can really teach you, and usually from a place of pain, is what not to do. There are some very, very rarely, I had an example the other day. I'm actually gonna call his name to shout out to him. Let me see if I can remember his name. I came across him on Tuana's page. He's divorced, but after listening to him a few times, this guy has gone through proper healing. I forgot his name right now. If anybody knows him, just mention his name. But anyway, the fourth is anybody that's been married for under 10 years. There's a good chance they're not going to be able to teach you anything about success in marriage, precisely about success in marriage. They can teach you about how to avoid a terrible wife, how to avoid a terrible evil wife. They can teach you all these different things, but they can't teach you how to have success in marriage. Okay? And yes, I said it. That's an absolute, and I mean that. When you find an exception, let me know, but I will remind you that there are exceptions. Okay? So with that being said, that doesn't mean you can't learn something about life in general, or even tips about marriage that you can pick up little insights from even a goat, a donkey. That doesn't mean that. And I'm not calling Erica Mena a donkey, but I think this was a good lesson. I think women will be able to agree with this, but I think men will be able to pick up some insights from what she's saying here.
That is so hard. to be vulnerable when we have so much to be responsible for. You know what I'm saying? There's no room to be submissive when a man don't give you that space. You need a space to be comfortable, to be vulnerable, to feel safe. Safe is the key word. You could be the baddest bitch, you could have the most money in the world. If you do not feel safe, there is no submission. And that's what it comes down to. Like, it don't matter who you are. If you see Carisha right now, you see how she be posted up next to Diddy? Like, they're like, Carisha's there next to Diddy. Like, and that's a city girl. You know why? Mr. Love gave her a safe place to stand.
Who is Mr. Love? Didi, right? But anyway, all right. So she's recently divorced. Okay. She made a good point. You're gonna find people that make good points all over the place. They've been divorced, they've never been married. Of course, people will make good points. She made a good point. Women need to feel safe. That's bottom line. That's the only thing really you should focus on. To be honest with you, greetings to you. Yeah, that's the only thing you should be focused on, making her feel safe. Okay, making her feel safe. Everything else you want will come with it. Oh yeah, this is the part where they get the shock out. They're like, so it's conditional? Yeah, yeah, of course it's conditional. Of course. Oh, you're looking for unconditional love? That only comes from one place, from God. I'm sorry. Some people will even say men are capable of unconditional love. If they were, they wouldn't be asking for submission. They wouldn't be making submission a condition. They wouldn't be making femininity a condition, right? So obviously that's a condition, right? It's all conditional, right? Now you can approach or get closer to that level of unconditional. That's why I said 10 years in marriage, because you get to a point, right? Where these people is now second nature to them. They're literally selfless. That is a function of time. That is a function of a lot of ups and downs. That's a function of a lot of experience. That's a function of going through some pain and then coming out on the other side of healing. Okay? There are people in marriage that can't teach you shit about marriage. Let's be clear about that, right? So she made a good point. And I think this point, if men can really, really nail this point right here, if they can really, really get their fingers on this, right? When she starts to argue with you, she doesn't feel safe. She's acting masculine, she doesn't feel safe. That's naturally what you do. The idea of somebody creating safety for themselves is masculine energy. That's the whole point, right? So if you now go in the angle of, oh no, I'm the victim too, she should just be feminine and be submissive regardless, right? Some people say, oh, we're just teaching that at the community level, teaching women that. Sure, good luck to ya. But I guarantee you this stuff is conditional. At the end of the day, you as an individual, you're responsible for the energy you attract into a romantic relationship. So she had some good points there. I must give it to her, right? This guy became an executive. Some people are going to see this. Some people don't even know what this is. This is Akon's little brother. He's always been there behind the scenes. He signed some of your biggest superstars, but he's playing his role, right? The idea of submission, people think it's such a negative thing, right? They hear submission, they hear subjugation, they hear beneath, right? Now, obviously, this guy would be considered by many ignorant people to be beneath Akon. Actually, it's probably a lot more powerful than Akon. It's his little brother. He looks like him, right? Right? He just got named the vice president at Columbia Records. If you know what that means, that is a big deal. Oh, by the way, he's not an executive for the first time. He's been hanging out behind the scenes for a long time. See, gentlemen, one of the things you have to learn how to do is learn how to play your role, learn authority. Learn the power of authority, learn the power of hierarchy in society or in any context. If you learn how these things work, right, it's going to favor not only it's going to favor you. Not only are you going to know how to create one for your own empire, you're also going to know when it's time to submit. Yes, as a man, the reason why men complain about submission, men that complain about submission from women are men that don't know how to be submissive to the right authorities. Oh, you never saw that coming, right? Yep, it's men like that. Because when you know how to submit to the right authorities, you will also know how to attract it. I'm telling you, this thing goes in full circle. I'm telling you, it goes in full circle. It's about humility. It's about humility. It comes back around. What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. You attract who you are. You attract exactly what you are. You got problems with authority, you're going to have a problem making, and I use making intentionally, making a woman submit to you by way of attraction, not forcing her to submit to you, because that's terrible, right? A woman don't decide if she wants to submit to you. You decide that with the way you move. Okay? You get to decide that how you move. It's how you move. If you don't believe me, you're actively trying to play the victim. That's what you're doing. Okay? That's what you're doing. And it's not going to favor you. It's going to hurt more. As a matter of fact, you probably can't stand my ass right now. You're resenting me right now. But this is 100% true. 100% of the time. Guess what power you have if you're engaged with a woman who can't submit? You also have the power to walk away. How come you can't walk away? Oh, you see what I'm talking about? You can't walk away because you don't really have that much options. If you did, you would walk away. Even if it's not a permanent decision, you would walk away. Okay? So let's keep things a buck here. I'm gonna keep bringing some of this stuff right here. Okay. Please subscribe to the Clips channel. You can see that on the homepage. Hit the like, subscribe as you're coming in. Thank you for those of you that already hit it. Right. Help me share this page and all this kind of stuff. If you have any topic you want me to talk about, anything like that you want me to cover, please feel free to suggest it in the comment area, in the chat area. You can also hit me up on IG. You can see my IG on the screen. You can also send it to me by text message as well. You can see my phone number on the screen, right? So hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. Let me make sure we don't get a feedback here. Let's see. All right, good. Just want to make sure we don't get a feedback, right? So yeah, hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.